I'm going to release the Kraken.
Release the Kraken!
Georgia's probably going to be the first state I'm going to blow up, and Mr. Kemp and the Secretary of State need to go with it. It will be biblical.
And when you lay all this out, and you're going to do this in court, do you have what you think is irrefutable evidence that will make up the minds of millions of American people?
Well, the burden of proof in court is only a preponderance of the evidence. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the criminal standard. But frankly, with everything we've got, these should be criminal prosecutions at a significant level for fraud and conspiracy to defraud provable beyond a reasonable doubt. There are hundreds of thousands of people in our criminal system right now in prison who were convicted on far less evidence of guilt than we have here.
City Powell, I want you to react to something that this Republican senator from Pennsylvania, Pat Toomey, just said in reaction to the district court judge's decision. The district court judge is someone who's very close to Pat Toomey. Senator Toomey says that President Trump has now, quote, exhausted all plausible legal options to challenge the result of the presidential race in Pennsylvania. Is that true?
No, that's not true at all.
Can you explain why the senator's wrong?
Hardly begun to fight.
Can you explain why is the senator wrong?
Well, he's wrong because Pennsylvania was one of the hotbeds of many varieties of fraud and criminal acts that the Department of Justice, frankly, should be in there prosecuting. And we're going to dump a whole lot of them into evidence in our fraud case that we're going to file in Pennsylvania.
Why do you think the Justice Department isn't being more aggressive in following up on what you see?
I think the Justice Department has known about this issue for a long time and turned a blind eye to it.
Why then?
I wonder how much the CIA actually had a role in starting this kind of program to begin with, use on other countries.
Why would Donald Trump's Justice Department not be interested in this?
Well, I wish Donald Trump had as much control over the Justice Department as people think he does. It's taken on a life of its own. I don't think even Bill Barr has the control over the Justice Department that he would like to have, because there are so many lawyers in so many different places doing whatever it is they want to do and ignoring the standards and practices that historically created the Justice Department to seek justice and not convictions. I mean, I wrote a book about that back in 2014. We've been on this increasingly bad path for decades now, and it's done nothing but get worse because nobody's told the truth and stood up for the truth. But Americans are now. They're livid about this, and they can see it. Everybody saw it election night. They saw votes being subtracted from President Trump and appearing on the Biden side of the scale. And that's exactly what this Dominion system was designed to do.
Release the Kraken!
Hello everyone, this is Mike Mandel, the CEO of MyPillow. As you all know, I have been attacked the last month relentlessly on social media, by newspapers, by TV shows, by you name it, I've been attacked. And myself, not just myself, but my company. The boycotts that are going on, box stores are dropping me, social media, they cancel my Twitter. Today they cancel MyPillow's Twitter account, my company's Twitter account. Well, before I was going to get erased completely, we put together this show. And what you're going to see today is what they don't want you to see, why they're trying to erase me. And what I've told everyone out there is, you know what? I've seen evidence. I've been trying since November 4th to prove, to show what's out there. Why are these deviations that happened on election night? None of it made any sense. So I dove all in with everything I had, resources. Anytime I heard something that maybe was relevant, I went and looked into it, did my own due diligence, had even my own investigation. Well, on one day, I think it was like January 9th, all of a sudden, they brought me a piece of evidence that's 100% proved. It's like a print of inside the machine of the timestamp that showed other countries attacking us, hacking into our election through these machines, and then it shows the vote split. And I'm going, wow, I got to get this out there. And from that point on, I started putting it out there, and that's when they just started attacking me. Well, they obviously are hiding something, and tonight you're going to see what they're hiding. You're going to see on this show, we're going to have cyber forensic experts. We're going to have 100%, you're going to see all this evidence that by the time you're done seeing it, you're going to go, wow. 100% it proves exactly what happened, that these machines were used to steal our election by other countries, including China. But I do want to tell you, before we get into all that, I want to tell you what I consider, why I'm so happy today about two miracles that happened these last couple months. The first miracle was on election night. And on election night at 11:15 at night, the algorithms of these machines basically broke. This will be explained during this show. But they broke. What that means is Donald Trump got so many more millions of votes that they didn't expect that they're going to have to go recalibrate, right? So that's why all these states shut down. All of a sudden, they all shut down. And we're all going, what? That's weird. This has never happened in any other election. And then we're going, okay. Then as the days went on, going, what? Another week that it takes, like Arizona to count 1% of their vote, and you see these big spikes like in Michigan and all these big, votes that were poured in. Nobody understood it, right? We're like living in this kind of twilight zone during that time. Well, that is one miracle there, because think if that wouldn't have happened. Think if they would have estimated right, and what would have happened is, it would have been just like a normal election at 3 in the morning. They would have said, Biden won, he won by a little bit, and we would have said, better luck next time. But because he got so many votes, it broke that and set off this series of events of these deviations. If that wouldn't have happened, we would have never been here talking about biggest attack in history, the biggest cyber attack ever. And this is, the American dream would be gone forever, because we would have never known. And it would just, using machines, it would have took us over forever.
Some things were set in place, including some of the changes that took place in this country, particularly when we had the Wuhan virus, or the COVID-19 virus, hit this country. And we have a video. Well, first, Mike, do you have any questions about this chart and what it is showing?
Yeah. So what you have here is what each one of these is its own timestamp that is 100% proof, because you have that, not only where it came from, you have their identification, you have that who they were attacking, their identification. This is what everybody would want. If you ever looked in and did an audit or wanted to look into a computer and look what went on in cyberspace, this is what you'd be looking for, correct?
This is forensic evidence of foreign footprints as they entered our election in a cyber warfare attack on our election. And then it shows exactly what they, where did they come from, which computer exactly the timestamp, exactly which computer they entered into, in what state, which county, the ID, the unique ID of the computer that they entered into, and then it shows how they entered using false credentials or breaking through the firewall, or both. Wow. Were they successful the first time, the second time, and then it shows the votes that they stole from Donald Trump. This is proof positive. This is documentation of a cyber attack, but it also is documentation of the footprints of those who entered our election.
Right. And look at, if everybody notices here, everyone, you don't think this was all put together in one big attack? Everyone was Donald Trump down, down, down. This wasn't another country that wanted it the other way. This was the biggest attack in history. And Mary, we have pages and pages, right? Thousands of these pages of every county, right? Of every single attack.
There are thousands of pages of the documented footprints, the foreign intrusion into our elections. We see this is coming from China, in many cases from Huawei, from Alibaba Cloud Service, from China Unicom, from uCloud, from China Mobile Titong. You know, this also came from Iran as well.
Right.
This is the foreign intrusion. This is the theft of our vote, but it also is documenting exactly the vote totals that were stolen from Donald Trump.
Right. And
what we have heard.
Well, this is what I've been telling everyone. This is where you got, if you add these numbers up, when I said, and I actually told the president when I met with them, I said, you know, you actually won this election by almost 80 million votes for you, for Donald Trump, to about 68 million for Biden. And that's not counting all the other kind of theft we talked about earlier in the show. These are the real numbers that were taken off and that were flipped. I mean, this is incredible, everybody. This is historical proof, too. We not only have, this is what we've all been waiting for. And Mary, you said there's a video, too, we want to show?
Yeah, this is a documentation, the proof positive, by cyber experts from in this country that began documenting the theft of our election.
Wow.
They put together the full documentation of every vote beginning on November 1st. So again, from before, during, and after the election, they documented the footprints of the foreign intrusion into our election. That means that foreign adversaries, really, because this was an act of war to come in and steal the election from the American people and decide who our foreign adversaries were going to put in the White House to rule or to be the president of this country.
Right.
Now, there's a video, and so that will show, and are you looking at the video, Mike?
Yeah, we're going to pull up the video here, Mary. Okay, here we go. We just pulled up the video. Wow, what's going on here with all these lines?
Well, the video, what you are watching is the surveillance system. In fact, this is the very surveillance system that was built by people inside this country within the cybersecurity battle space that built some of these tools that were built to keep this country safe. But what you're watching is that every line on that drawing, all those moving lines, they represent the IP addresses of what I just showed you on the chart. So when you understand the hacker's IP address and the IP address of the target and the votes that were stolen, every one of those lines that you're watching move across the chart and showing whether they were successful and how many votes they stole. That documents that. Every red line, as they turn red, as they finish stealing the vote, basically, the red lines are all China. So what you're seeing are the actual files being received and sent. That's a documentation of the real-time theft of our elections.
Wow.
So every line on the map, there's a corresponding line on the sheet. And the color and the line types represent the severity of the attack. Now, red has been the most severe attacks. Those lines are all coming out of China. Those are the most severe attacks on our election system.
Wow.
Now, this exact information, the same exact type of information, I should say, was presented to former FBI Director James Comey by a whistleblower in 2015. They knew, in fact, that our election machines were open for hacking. It's important to understand that there are prismatic scoring algorithms that they knew about that enter the election and they steal the vote at the transfer points. So at the point where the vote is leaving the Secretary of State's office and these machines, that is the point at which the vote is stolen at the transfer points. That's what you're watching. Those packets moving that's real-time documentation of the theft of the vote from inside this country. And then the numbers, the last column, those document exactly the numbers of votes. It shows in some of the cases Antrim County where the vote was stolen. and exactly the votes stolen at the exact time stamp of when they were stolen,
Right.
and the numbers stolen at that point.
So Mary, so what you're saying, Hal, is, and this is what I already know, but I'm learning a lot here as we go. What you're saying, every one of these lines, let's say we did take Antrim County, and we took that, we could pull out the timestamps for that county, and we could show the lines, the country that did it. We could show a line for every single hack or attack that we had in this election.
That's right. So what you're watching is those objects moving are the actual files that are being received and sent.
These are the squares here that are being sent. So everybody out there, what you're looking at, I mean, this is the proof. So if like Antrim County, that case is still open, you just go, here you go. Now you know who did it, how many votes flipped, when they did it, what time they did it, the computer it came from, the country that attacked us. I mean, this is what I have been excited about, and I only seen one. You know, Mary, I only seen one little line of that, which showed the IP address, all that stuff that you're showing us. When I found out that you had it for that we had it, that all these people had this for every single vote, every single attack, and whether it was successful or not. Look at right now, we got up on the screen, Georgia is just getting attacked. It was just getting attacked up here at that moment in time. And I suppose, they know what they're doing. They did the biggest attack right here. Look at everybody. Georgia and Michigan getting bombarded. My guess is that was probably like 3 or 4 in the morning when they really needed them votes to be flipped. Mary, this is incredible.
Yes, because there is proof positive. There is documentation of all the foreign interference into our election showing exactly who stole the vote, how they stole the vote, from which computers, access to our election, to which computers they went into. So understand that cybersecurity experts that work for this country put all this in place before the election even started to make sure that they caught all of this information so that foreign adversaries were not deciding our elections.
Absolutely, and what a blessing that they were there for us to catch all this and to get all this put together, and even to have these, to be proactive. They were proactive, everybody, and this is what a blessing this is, because we came this close to never knowing. And this is actually a miracle that we have all this, Mary, and this is amazing.
Release the Kraken!
Joining me now is best-selling author of the book License to Lie, former federal prosecutor and General Michael Flynn's attorney, Sidney Powell. Thank you for joining us. Counselor, tell us a little bit about the challenges that the Trump administration is facing, and what are your thoughts on whether or not they will be able to flip any states?
They're facing an election that was absolutely rigged. We are soaking in information through fire hoses of complicated mathematical alterations to the votes. We have identified the system capability that does it. It does in fact exist, regardless of what the name of it is. It works through the Dominion company's voting machines that were in 30 states, and does indeed alter and flip voting results.
So can you tell me right there? I understand that. So there are these Dominion machines that were voting machines, and as you point out, they're in multiple counties across the country that may have changed. How do you know this? Listen, I'm not pushing back on you because I know everyone's going crazy right now, but is there proof of that?
Yes, well, the Dominion machines are in 30 states. We're identifying the companies that created the software. They have done this in other countries around the world. It's incredibly disturbing, and we will hopefully have evidence of it before the end of the week that we can produce publicly. And the Justice Department and the FBI and the intelligence agencies, I think, have known about this before. So why nothing's been done about it yet is beyond my comprehension, but it's fixing to go public, because I'm not going to stand by and watch the American public be defrauded of their chosen leader in a free country that's supposed to be free, not run by Venezuela or China.
Cindy, a very important information news you're breaking here. Is it a software glitch or something more nefarious?
It's a feature of the system that was designed with a back door so that people could watch in real time and calculate with an algorithm how many votes they needed to change to make the result they wanted to create.
How did you find out about this?
People have come to me with information. I think when people realize there's somebody they can trust that will actually do something about it, they speak up. We have a lot of patriots in this country. They are absolutely fed up to the gills with corruption at every level of government. They have no trust in our public institutions now, and we will not let this election be stolen or any cheating to survive.
So let me get this straight. It's a real important point here. Dominion voting machines were in numerous states, numerous counties. There's some sort of software backdoor that, not unlike most phones, will have a backdoor, but this will actually calculate and tell the person accessing the backdoor what type of voting percentages and what type of numbers are needed to change the win for a certain party, for a certain candidate.
Exactly. They can watch the voting real time. They run a computer algorithm on it as needed to either flip votes, take votes out, or alter the votes to make a candidate win.
So that's different. Now this is even different. I just really want to be very, very careful here and be very meticulous about this. It's one thing to be able to watch it and decide how much more input you need to change the number, but now you're saying there's an actual way to change the vote tallies within the system?
That's exactly right.
That's a very, very big claim there. I mean, that would be voter fraud defined right there. What's the next step?
It's massive criminal voter fraud writ large across at least 29 states. It could have been happening. Anytime a voting machine was connected to the internet, and we have evidence that many were, it was obviously happening. It's obvious from the algorithm and the statistics that our experts are tracking out for batches of votes and when the curves changed. And it's going to blow the mind of everyone in this country when we get it all together and can explain it with the affidavits and the experts that have come forward.
All right, Sydney, we're going to leave it there, and we're going to look into it. We're going to watch for further information coming out from your camp, I guess Rudy Giuliani's camp as well, Trump camp. So, Sydney Powell, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Release the Kraken!
I know for a fact there was illegal activity going on there. People have pictures of people carrying ballots out of that place. There is pictures of vans full of ballots coming out of that place. These Democrats took every avenue possible to commit fraud in this election. The poll book is completely off. Completely off. That 30,000? I'd say that poll book is off by over 100,000. That poll book. Why don't you look at the registered voters on there? How many registered voters are on there? Do you even know the answer to that?
No, I guess I'm trying to get to the bottom of this here.
Zero. There's zero.
So, my question then is, if the...
Guess how many? Wait. What about the turnout rate? 120%.
Why we're not seeing the poll book off by 30,000 votes? That's not the case.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it?
So how many ballots would you estimate in front of you that you observed were counted multiple times in the machine? Can you put a number to it, an estimated number?
At least 30,000.
At least 30,000.
This isn't counting, the ballots that are found in rivers, the ballots found under rocks. I had called my manager over to a specific tabulating machine. At that point, I was just really frustrated and upset. I could tell what was going on. I knew what was going on at that point.
What was going on?
He was in on it. They were all in on it.
In on what?
They were cheating. It was very, very apparent. It was apparent he knew. It was apparent that he was in on it. And when he caught on to me knowing that he was in on it, he just wanted nothing to do with me. I called the FBI on the 8th, November 8th. I talked to 2 separate women, over 40 minutes. The first one, gave her all my information. The phone mysteriously cut out, and she never called me back. I was waiting for her to call me back. She never called me back. I had to call them back, and they never called me back. Never got a call back. Still haven't got a call back. And I had somebody else working on it that has a neighbor that's an old FBI agent, and still haven't heard back from that.
Going back to the ruling from Judge Timothy Kenny, he writes that your description of the events at the TCF Center does not square with any other affidavits. Yeah. He says that there are... Excuse me, I'm speaking.
Please, let's let the representative finish, and then you can...
He writes that there are no other reports of lost data or tabulating machines that jammed repeatedly every hour during the count. He also writes that neither Republican nor Democratic challengers nor city officials substantiate your version of these events. The allegations simply are not credible, is what Judge Kenny writes. So my question for you is, you're making claims here today that there's systematic fraud in what's going on in our elections. Are the courts also tied up in that fraud?
Let me tell you what I did by accident, okay? I gave Channel 7 an interview that they tied in to that and made me the witness that's uncredible. Guess what? There's going to be a couple behind me that are going to say the same thing I just said. I was working for Dominion, yes.
Okay.
Something very, very suspicious too, must I add, that we were not allowed to wear name tags at all. We were not allowed to talk about who we worked for. They were very secretive. They didn't want anybody knowing anything about them.
Why is it that we're not having more people come forward? I mean, it seems like if there was widespread fraud, that we'd have dozens and dozens of people.
I'll tell you why. My life has been destroyed. My life has been completely destroyed because of this. I've lost family. I've lost friends. I've been threatened. My kids have been threatened. I've had to move. I've had to change my phone number. I've had to get rid of social media. Nobody wants to come forward. They're getting threatened. Their lives are getting ruined. I can't even get an actual job anymore. I can't. Because Democrats like to ruin your lives. That's why.
All right.
I know what I saw, and I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison. Did you?
Okay,
I'm just trying to ask you a legitimate question here.
Yeah, let's let Representative Johnson ask his question, and then don't interrupt him. And then if you want to respond to it, that's fine. And did you have more, Representative?
Yeah, I guess I just want to keep following back up with the poll book. So are we saying that the poll book is either wildly off or that they are filling in names?
It's wildly off, and dead people voted, and illegals voted. Okay. So that's my answer.
I think we're going to move on.
Yeah.
Do you have a point of order?
I love how you can just say whatever you want to say.
Release the Kraken!
Thank you. This may be the most important speech I've ever made. I want to provide an update on our ongoing efforts to expose the tremendous voter fraud and irregularities which took place during the ridiculously long November 3rd elections. We used to have what was called Election Day. Now we have election days, weeks and months, and lots of bad things happened during this ridiculous period of time, especially when you have to prove almost nothing to exercise our greatest privilege, the right to vote. As president, I have no higher duty than to defend the laws and the Constitution of the United States. That is why I am determined to protect our election system, which is now under coordinated assault and siege. for months leading up to the presidential election.
Release the Kraken!
President Trump created millions of jobs, saved the economy from a worldwide pandemic, and led the effort to discover a vaccine at warp speed. America rewarded President Trump with over 74 million votes, millions more than Obama and both Clintons, more votes than any president, more votes from African Americans, Latinos, and Jewish Americans than any Republican in decades. President Trump won Ohio, Florida, and 95% of bellwether counties, suggesting a landslide Trump victory. But something happened. Some states rushed out mail-in ballots, a recipe for fraud. Dead people voted. Ballots miraculously appeared. Biden ballots added in the middle of the night.
Release the Kraken!
Go ahead, let's give it a shot.
What do you say to Americans who are upset with you over the way you downplayed this crisis over the last couple of months? We have it very much under control in this country. The coronavirus is very much under control in the USA. It's going to disappear. It's like a miracle. It will disappear. March 4th, we have a very small number of people in this country infected. March 10th, we're prepared. We're doing a great job with it. It will go away. Just stay calm. It will go away. What do you say to Americans who believe that you got this wrong?
And I do want them to stay calm. And we are doing a great job. If you look at those individual statements, they're all true. Stay calm. It will go away. You know it is going away, and it will go away. And we're going to have a great victory.
On the border with Mexico, the president went down to the border earlier today to get a look at the situation down here. He declared that the nation is under attack on the border, but that is only one of many misleading statements he's made throughout the day as he's in hot pursuit of that wall.
Frankly, that is how we make America great again.
We're not seeing any kind of imminent danger. There are no migrants.
You are a rude, terrible person. You are the enemy of the people. I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. You know, they have to come in through a process. That's enough.
Mr. President,
that's enough.
Ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President.
That's enough.
Mr. President.
That's enough. And it's people like you and CNN that say things like that. It's why people just don't want to listen to CNN anymore. You could ask a normal question. The statements I made are, I want to keep the country calm. I don't want panic in the country. I could cause panic much better than even you. I would make you look like a minor league player. But you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to have our country be calm and strong and fight and win. And it will go away. And it is incredible, the job that all of these people are doing, putting them all together, the job that they're doing. I am very proud of the job they're doing, that Mike Pence is doing, that the task force has done, that Honeywell and Procter & Gamble and Mike and all of these people have done. I'm very proud. It's almost a miracle, and it is, the way it's all come together. And instead of asking a nasty, snarky question like that, you should ask a real question. And other than that, I'm going to go to somebody else. Please, go ahead, please.
Release the Kraken!
All these politicians that are marching across stages like I'm marching across this stage right now, and that are starting to tout whether or not they're going to run for president in 2024, don't give them the time of day and don't give them a dime. We have a president. That's exactly right. until Donald J. Trump says what he needs to say about the future, about where we're going as a nation and as a party, let's say as a Republican Party, although I could care less about the parties, I really could.
Release the Kraken!
Consign him and those who supported him in the Senate to the trash heap of history.
Twitter permanently banning the Commander-in-Chief's personal account with 88 million followers.
Release the Kraken!
I will say right up front that I believe that there has been rampant fraud and deceit in this election.
We're basing everything on an inauguration date. Now, inauguration date may, in fact, be important, and it's been consistent throughout history, but this has been unlike anything that we've seen. We're talking about foreign interference that can be proven, that I believe will be proven. We're also talking about a fraudulent election, so it makes the whole inauguration thing not be consistent. It doesn't look like there's anything that has changed. And so they're giving up. And they're all looking at somehow that the 20th next week is the deciding factor, whether the prophets are true, whether they're false, whether this nation is going forward or not.
We've got to let things play out, and we've got to also believe that what has been spoken and what has been released is something that God is going to fulfill. We've got to stop with this backing up.
Biden and the left is saying, oh, we've got this nation, we've got the presidency. Moses cried out to God, and God said, lift up your rod of authority and go forward. I haven't changed my mind.
We are in a war. We are a soldier. And as Paul told Timothy, we're going to have to war a good warfare. We're going to do it through the prophetic word spoken over us.
There wouldn't even be an America if 250 years ago righteous preachers had not made a righteous stand and say, we're going to fight for freedom. What is God really saying? Was there fraud? If so, are we going to fight or not? Is Trump God's choice or not? If you don't have backbone enough to do that, then go get a job doing something other than preaching the gospel.
I don't think the world has ever seen such a level of denial, with literally millions of people now finding themselves so far out on a limb of their own creation. Or do they double down yet again and turn to violence in an effort to make their own false prophecies come to pass?
They're promoting this Biden presidency nonsense, this lie from the pit of hell, because they want to build it and build it and build it and build it. So when the Supreme Court sides with conservatives, and they're going to, because we won, 110% we won. When they side with us, they're going to say, oh my goodness, he's overturned the election, and they're going to burn everything down.
Perhaps Kenneth Copeland himself, the possible mastermind of the whole deception, best illustrates the insanity that they must feel when faced with the bitter truth of their own delusions.
The Associated Press said that Joe Biden is president.
Please watch the second part in this two-part series where we examine the errors in Christian teaching that led to this horrific blasphemy that right-wing white evangelicalism in America has become.
Release the Kraken! Release the Kraken! Release the Kraken!
It's too late for that. They don't listen without that. acoustic. Yeah, it would be fire if somebody had like a boombox or some revolutionary music and shit. Dude, that's just spicy as fuck. I should.
Okay, I got you. I have it all. I was right at the door. Okay. I need that footage, man. It's gonna go out to the world. Dude, this shit's gonna go viral. So much. I cannot believe that. I can't believe I saw somebody die. I saw someone die. Get back! This is not gonna be the same. This is not gonna be the same. Emergency alert! Just seen in my footage, but I just started recording again. You did that, though. You did that. You did that. You guys did that shit. You could have not shot anybody. We gotta get our body out of here. Hold on, just a moment. We gotta get out. I love you.
Release the Kraken!
President Trump, if you see this, please save us. I don't even see our American flag anymore. Biden is talking with some kind of crazy flag. This is America. This is our land. Please, President Trump. Please, please, I hope you have a plan. God, please save us. Save us from the devil, please. Y'all are about to have a panic attack. This is our country. Our country. This is awful. God, please save us, please.
Release the Kraken!
Ha 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 ha!